Mother Nature making history. Hundreds of thousands without power.
I've been a meteorologist here in Oklahoma 20 years now, Damon, and I'll tell you what, this is just incredible. This is a historic ice storm.
The First Alert Storm Team now tracking a third round.
Live, local, late breaking. This is KOCO 5 News at 10.
Old Man Winter wreaking havoc for another night. Good evening to you. I'm Jessica Shambach. Chief Meteorologist Damon Lane in the studio with me right now. Evan Onstadt starting this newscast on the station's balcony. And Evan, we're all dealing with storm damage, even right here at the station.
We are. We're so lucky, of course, we have generators here so we can keep the lights on, but we have so much damage here, huge trees. We're going to have a big cleanup ahead of us. But you look outside right now, we got a lot of precipitation. I'm not sure if it's frozen precipitation or just some rain. Of course, what we want to see is we want to see that rain melt, not freeze. And when we look at what we have here, these icicles, we want those to go away as quick as possible. Damon Lane, you're tracking that temperature. It is critical tonight. Are we above or are we below freezing?
Well, as of right now, we're just barely, and I mean 32.5 degrees. So we're just half a degree above the freezing mark right now. And so as you saw there is some melting happening, but it is happening so slow, and it is going to be a very slow thaw. So as you see here with this next wave of rain moving, and at times a little bit of freezing rain with it, but notice how we're seeing a little bit more green on the radar rather than a solid pink like we saw all morning long. Still, though, more moisture coming in from Pink down towards Slaughterville. That's headed up towards Shawnee, Johnson, even as we go down to the south, finding a few patchy drizzle areas from Wynnewood towards Pauls Valley and up towards Holdenville. As we go up to the north here, out towards Stillwater, Glencoe, Pawnee, this is going to be a very cold rain. And then even as you go up towards around Ponca City, a very cold rain right now where temperatures are about 33 degrees. But our next wave, here it is right here. And here's the thing, we're still dealing with an ice storm warning, so we're not in the clear at all. As a matter of fact, here's the latest right now with our ice storm warning and who's currently included in the ice storm warning that we have now out across western Oklahoma. I'll show you right now. If we can head on over to WSI here, and I'll show you exactly what we're dealing with. We've got ice storm warning, western Oklahoma, still includes central Oklahoma, and the brand new data rolling in right now shows that while we are likely going to barely get above freezing across the metro, we're still going to have some icy spots to worry about as you head out the door tomorrow morning. The newest ice threat you can expect coming up. Jess?
Thanks, Damon. You know, we know you have trees down in your yard, maybe on your roof, even a fence. But what if one of your trees damaged your neighbor's property? What do you need to do? KOCO's Abigail Ogle here tonight. And Abby, you spoke to an insurance expert about first steps.
So many questions here, Jess. Simply don't sign anything and don't start cleaning up damage on your own. Take pictures first. Really helpful information tonight from a claims specialist getting your questions answered.
The most important thing would be to take photos of the damage before you start moving anything.
Gretchen Knight with State Farm says that should be your first move. Take photos and document damage.
There's plenty of time to work with your insurance company after the storm has, kind of gone away and things settle down.
You don't have to rush out and buy a chainsaw to start the cleanup process. She says, take your time.
Don't sign any contracts or make any payments on those until you've contacted your insurance agent.
Your insurance agent should have a list of reputable companies so you don't fall victim to a scammer.
Unfortunately, we see this a lot, in Oklahoma during hailstorms with roofing companies. If someone's coming door to door, I would definitely, kind of steer away from those.
And a big question, what if a tree in your yard damages your neighbor's property?
So if something falls on your house, whether it's your neighbor's tree or a tree in your yard, you're going to file it on your policy because your property is what's damaged.
She says since this is a weather event, there's really no negligence on anyone's part. Also, another question we're seeing, what is actually covered by your standard homeowner's policy? Anything that is a structure, a house, a shed, a fence, garage. If a tree falls, it doesn't do any damage, it just falls in your yard. That is your responsibility to clean up and pay for. Back to you.
All right, Abby, thanks very much. More than 300,000 outages reported right now. Now, that number is statewide, but a little more than half of those outages are in Oklahoma County tonight. Crews, of course, working hard to restore the power, but there is no guarantee when the power will be restored. KOCO's Portia Riley joining us near 13th and Lottie tonight. And Portia, lots of lights out where you're at.
Yes, Evan, we've been driving around this area for a while and have seen several streetlights out in homes without power. As you can see, tree branches and trees hanging in the street. Now, OG&E is reporting that there are still around 227,000 customers without power, while 92,000 customers have had theirs restored. Now, crews will be working all through the night, and they're asking everyone to be patient with so much to do, and say if you don't see crews outside your home, it's likely because the source of the outage is miles away. But again, say they're working quickly and safely to get everyone's issue resolved.
Our crews are really working hard toward getting that resolved. We don't have any restoration times for anybody at this point.
Now, again, I mentioned those trees and tree branches all over the road for long stretches at a time. The mayor announcing there will be a special pickup for those down branches, and will take weeks, if not months, for those needing your tree branches picked up. Just stick them curbside where you place bulk trash, and they'll be picked up. For now, back to you.
Portia Riley reporting for us tonight. And many schools already closing for tomorrow. Oklahoma City, Edmond, Norman, more. There is a long list. And right now on the KOCO app, you can see that full list of closures tomorrow. We're going to continue to update it all night long. It will be scrolling on the bottom of your screen.
The deadliest day so far in Oklahoma's coronavirus battle. 22 more Oklahomans dying from COVID-19. Last time the daily death toll was over 20 was back in April. More than 1,200 deaths total since the pandemic began. State health officials reporting 1,010 new COVID-19 cases today. Our 7-day case average remains elevated at 1,266.
It's not just Oklahoma. The country is setting new record numbers in COVID cases. And now the controversial question of a mask mandate is back in the news. Our chief national consumer correspondent, Jeff Rawson, has been following that and joining us now. Now, Jeff, as you know, Oklahoma does not have a mask mandate here in the state, but there is this larger argument right now about a national mandate. And there are some experts, I understand, who were once against it that are now backing it.
Yeah, Oklahoma's certainly not alone, Evan, and most states don't have a mask mandate. But yeah, you have people like Dr. Anthony Fauci, who even just last month said he doesn't support a mask mandate, that people should do it. Everyone should wear a mask, but he thinks it'd be tricky to enforce, and he's right about that. But now Dr. Fauci is saying, yeah, it's tricky to enforce, but with the cases exploding, not only in Oklahoma, but almost everywhere in the country, it's time to explore that again. And then you have some other pretty big names. Admiral Brett Giroir, who's on the White House coronavirus task force. He's in charge of the testing nationally, saying that if more people don't start wearing masks, lawmakers may be pushed, to his words, draconian measures. You have the former commissioner of the FDA saying maybe it's time to explore a mask mandate. And so you have this sort of growing coalition of experts, not to mention Joe Biden, who says if he's elected, maybe he can't enforce a national mask mandate aside from federal buildings and such. But he said he's going to call state governors and implore them to create one. And if they won't do it, he wants to call mayors of cities and towns. So you sort of have this snowball that's rolling downhill again after the conversations about the mandate sort of went away because of its controversial nature. But now it's back because of all those cases in Oklahoma and elsewhere.
Yeah. So there's the health side of the pandemic, of course, but then there's also the economic side. And you've been updating us, Jeff, weekly on what's going on with this new stimulus bill. Will they or won't they? Running out of time here if they want to get something passed before the election.
Yeah, you and I talk every week about this, and we follow the horse race and this roller coaster. I can now officially sit before you, unfortunately, and say there will not be a stimulus relief bill passed, both houses of Congress, at least before the election, and probably for at least a week after the election. The reason I can say that with certitude is because even if the Democrats and the White House were to come to an agreement now, today, which from all we hear, they're not, because they're still far apart on several issues, but even if they were, Evan, to come to an agreement, and this is not a political statement, Mitch McConnell, the GOP leader of the Senate, sent the Senate home. He adjourned the Senate after confirming Amy Coney Barrett yesterday. So the Senate's adjourned until November 9th. So there's no way this could even come to the floor of the Senate for passage until at least then. So, Evan, not only are we not going to have a relief bill by the election, we're not going to have one for at least a week after as well. And, you know, look, you just wish both sides all sides, everybody would get their act together for you at home, because you guys are left in the middle.
Yeah, Republicans and Democrats are both hurting right now because of the economics of this pandemic. Jeff, thanks so much. As always, keeping tabs on the latest developments as they happen. And for all of Jeff's updates, the latest information that you need, head to RawsonReports.com.
Commitment 2020 coverage, House District 100 candidates, Democrat Summer Wesley and Republican Marilyn Stark weigh in on how we make sure unemployment numbers shrink.
Well, the unemployment report this week is really exciting that we're down to 4.5%, and we're the lowest in the nation, and I'm excited about that. I know we don't have it fixed yet, but opening the economy was a really good thing, and we're going to just need to continue to bring in jobs. I especially think that we need to try to find ways as a legislature to make the regulations less binding, where if someone wants to start their own business, they can. Entrepreneurship is a wonderful thing.
I mean, it comes down to we have got to diversify our industry in Oklahoma. We've relied on oil and gas for a very long time, which is great in those boom years, but in those bust years, it's really the entire state suffers. And so we've got to focus on long-term solutions to bring industry here. And we have not been focused on that. We've got to bring our infrastructure into this century if we ever hope to get more industry here, and also make education and job training more accessible so that we have a workforce prepared to take those jobs when they're here.
We'll be checking in with more candidates ahead of the November 3rd election, and you can get a full voter guide right now on KOCO.com and our mobile app.
Let's take a live look again outside right now. Not too far from downtown, a historically early October winter storm sticking around. This near Broadway Extension, northeast Oklahoma City. Damon, over to you.
Yeah, I think a lot of us would like to see this go away, that at least the ice. We love the moisture. We need the moisture, but not the ice. And new data coming in right now. See this right here? This is moving into Oklahoma in the next couple hours. This right here, round number 3. Who will see ice out the door with round number 3 and round number 4? We're only halfway through this. Coming up.
Man, well, hundreds of thousands of people still without power right now, including those in senior living centers.
And after the break, community efforts to get Oklahoma's oldest out of the cold.